So I had a woman reach out to me through my website, and she was asking me, why do alcoholics get so angry? And then she told me her story, that her husband drank every chance he got, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And he was grumpy all the time, which she did not understand. She thought that alcohol made people happy, but with her husband, no, it made him more miserable. In fact, when he was drinking, his anger was overwhelming. Like, she would do everything she could to keep him happy or just get the family away from him. I want to explain the main reason why that happens. See, when you're not using substances like alcohol or other drugs, when you do something that is fun, is enjoyable, like you go out to a movie that you just really loved, or you're hanging out with your friends, something that is enjoyable. In that moment, your brain is releasing all these feel-good chemicals, but they're natural chemicals. And it gives you that natural high, that moment of, oh, this feels so good. I'm enjoying myself so much. I love this, right? That is a natural high. It's good, it's normal, and you want to enjoy that. But when you introduce chemicals, whether that's alcohol, even nicotine, and certainly the harder drugs, those chemicals flood your brain with an artificial high. And really, it's too much for the brain to take, especially when it happens over and over and over and in large doses. So the brain has to compensate. And the way it compensates is the receptor sites in your brain that absorb those feel-good chemicals, whether they're natural or artificial. Because your brain is overwhelmed, it starts eliminating those receptor sites. It starts shrinking that part of the brain, like literally. And so what a person has to do is now the same amount of drinking or drugging doesn't get them high. So they have to use more and more and more. And that creates bigger consequences on their body and on how sick they are. And so that's miserable enough right there. That's enough to make someone just depressed and hate life. But on the other side of it, when they're not using, because that part of their brain has been reduced, there's less receptor sites for feel-good chemicals, what happens is normal stuff just doesn't feel good anymore. They go watch that same movie, they talk to those same friends, they do that same thing, whatever it is, it just doesn't feel good anymore. And that's depressing. And people know this, right? They know that they're not enjoying life. And they know that they're using more and more and more of substances. They know their life's getting out of control. And that's just miserable. And they don't want to think about it. And that's where a lot of people, a lot of addicts, will project onto other people. You're the one who's making me miserable. You're the one who's doing this, or it's my job, or it's this. It's anything else except for themselves, because they don't want to look at themselves and how miserable their life is. And a lot of times when they're using, and you do see this a little bit more with alcohol, because it's not quite as extreme as like opiates, which wipe someone's mind out right away. They just go numb instantly, is as that alcohol is going in their system, their inhibitions, the thing that keeps their mouth shut, because like I shouldn't say that because it's going to cause a problem. As their inhibitions are going away, they just speak how they feel and they act how they feel. And if the life is miserable, if they're hating life, they're going to spew that anger out on themselves, on other people, until they get drunk enough, and then they get in a stupor, and you know how that goes. And then that process repeats and it repeats and it repeats. If you see that going on in your life or the life of someone that you care about, it's a problem. When you see their mood starting to change, they're getting grumpy, they're getting angry, they're increasing their use over and over and over, that is a problem, right? And here's the tough thing, all right? See, it's a problem that you can't fix. It's their problem. They're the one that needs to get help. They're the one that needs to take the steps. But what I see in families is a lot of times we want to keep the angry drunk happy or the angry addict happy. We want to do whatever we can to make them feel better, but a lot of time that's not talking about the obvious thing that's going on. And I mean, who wants to have a conversation with an angry drunk or an angry drug addict, right? They don't want to talk about it and you don't want to get into that mess with them. But you got to stand up for yourself. You got to stand up for your family and what is right. And that's the kind of conversation you have. It's not a conversation to bash them over the head and tell them how stupid and horrible they are as a person, because that doesn't help. That adds to the shame that fuels the addiction. It's a different kind of conversation. It's more of an invitation. It's where you invite them to change, to make change, to join you in a healthy life, to join you in turning things around, and that you will help them in every way you can, but you're not going to live this way anymore. You're not going to watch them destroy their lives. And so, yes, you have to put some limits. You have to put some boundaries, and it is a very, very difficult conversation, but that might be the start of them seeing a light, a path of how they can move out of this. Because you don't change things by getting sucked in to the patterns of a life full of addiction, right? You've got to show a better way, which is taking care of yourself. So if you need some help with this, please come to my website. Please come to my Facebook group, Living with Addiction. And my Facebook is jonathanleague.com, or subscribe to the YouTube channel, because I put out these videos and I can give you some more guidance. I have some courses, I have some teaching, I have some help for you. But if not there, go get help. Go talk to someone who will support you, who will help you see clearly, because addiction is destructive and it's overwhelming, and you need support. You need help. And if you are going through the addiction yourself, you need help. Stop joking with yourself. Stop trying to salvage where this is going. Get help. Put an end to this. Get the relief. Get to the place that you really want to be in your life. All right, you guys take care. Keep tuning back in, because there's going to be more videos to help you out. I'll talk to you later.